All right, so I just got back from the brand new gym at Elizabeth Ford High School. The gym was opened on January 29th of 2026 with the girls basketball team playing against Ringgold. They were the first team to play in the gym. They won that game. And I went tonight, which is January 30th, and that was a boys basketball game played against West Mifflin. Both teams brought home a win in their brand new gym in their brand new home, which is a really cool achievement for those young men and women to have. To get to play there in this new gym and to get to bring home a win. That's pretty big. I just wanted to come on here. I write these articles that are informative articles about things that happen at school board meetings, that happen in our community, that happen at commissioner meetings. And I'm really trying to make something for our community, something valuable. And I have a hard time sometimes because I want to express my opinions, but I don't want to make my articles opinionated because that can, add room for some bias. So I avoid putting my opinion in any of these articles. So that's where my podcast kind of gives me some more room to play, and and it gives me some area where I can really make clear, uh, how I feel about things. And so I wanted to take time to talk about this basketball, uh, or excuse me, this gym, and explain it, and just talk to you guys about it. And I want to write some more opinion pieces and really just give you guys a better understanding of what's going on through my experience with it. You first walk in, the original entrance of the school was not very big. You walk in now, this main entrance lobby is huge. You walk into these huge, really nice windows, windowed paned doors. So there's these big doors with these glass windows all around it. You walk into one of what they call a mouse trap, I believe, which is just a new security feature for schools. A lot of schools have them. So you walk into there, you walk through there, and then you get to the main lobby. Those doors are locked during the school day, so a stranger cannot just walk through the school. Originally, when you'd walk into the school building, you'd walk through the hallways to get to the office. Now they actually have this mousetrap system and this extra security office. So you will walk into the security guard's office, which then can lead you to the office. Strangers never have to be in the school building walking through the hallways, which is a very, very good thing and a nice safety feature. Anyways, you walk through there. These new doors and windows produce a ton of natural light, which is very important. A lot of people know that. When you're building something, you want to have a lot of natural light. It improves the mood of not only your teachers, it improves the mood of your students, etc., your staff, all that. So you walk through there, and so basically on the outside of the school, the new look is this red brick with a black line around the top of it. I think it looks fantastic. It is what Elizabeth Ford is. Elizabeth Ford is red and black. We're the Warriors, red and black. It's been that for years, forever. And so now you have the school that follows that theme of red and black. And it's kind of hard now that walls are up on that school. It's hard to drive through it or to drive past it or in the parking lot wherever. It's hard to drive past and say, this doesn't look good because it looks amazing, and you can really tell the difference when you see parts of the school that are still yellow, with that kind of old faded stripe on it. It is a huge improvement, and it looks great. It makes Elizabeth forward. It puts us on the map, really. I do believe that. And you see these really nice pillars at the entrance, and just honestly, overall looks fantastic. So you walk into this new lobby. The brick design that's outside actually follows you into the lobby, and it surrounds the lobby. So you have this red and black brick that goes all the way around with these really nice. So the whole ceiling's painted black, but then it has a white drop ceiling um, inside of it, and the floor is a white and black tile floor. Um, I believe it's white around the outside with black in the middle. It may be maybe vice versa or flipped. I can't. It's like out of my mind right now what the exact look of it is, but it's really nice. So you walk in to this really nice, you know, huge lobby. It's really big. When you compare it to the old one and look at it now, it looks way bigger. So you walk in. There's a surround sound system out there, so that gives you the capabilities if you want to hold a college fair in there, if you want to have some kind of thing where you might need to plug in a microphone and have a event out there. My example always is, once the school board meetings are moved there, when the extension wing is built on, you could quite literally have a school board meeting in the lobby of the building. That is how large this is, and it's beautiful. It looks great. It's a nice backdrop. The winter formal court, I believe it was, just had their court photos taken outside in the lobby, and it was a really nice background. It's very pretty, especially with like they had all black on. It was just a really nice match. So you walk through the lobby, you walk into the new gym, and anybody who knows, if you walk into that old gym, you get smacked with 1,000-degree weather, and you look around, it is ugly, and this is just being honest, it's ugly. You have these wooden bleachers. You have a wood floor that I don't know how old it is. It looks probably looks older than it is, and the lights in there are very dim. It's just it's just a dark, outdated part of the facility, and a lot of these parts are outdated, and that's why we're getting these renovations now, and the much needed renovations. So now you walk into this brand new gym, and I walked in and I caught myself. I just I looked straight up, and I was just mouth on the ground. My mouth was dropped. My jaw was dropped. It is huge and it is beautiful. I've seen pictures of it. I had the opportunity to go in to take pictures of it to donate to the commissioners for their cap presentation with the ACP presentation. And that was really cool. But I was in there whenever there were no bleachers, so it looked very unfinished. It was just kind of all gray. There were no mats up, no screens. So I went in now today, and they had the bleachers. These really nice. As I was saying, in the old gym, there's these wooden bleachers. In this new gym, it is the standard kind of plastic bleachers now that you see at most schools that are different colors. So we have red bleachers, which when are pulled out, there's black ones, and the black write out EF. And when they're pushed up against the wall, it also spells out EF. It's a really nice touch. There's a lot of very specific details that really kind of make the place pop, and I'll talk about that. So you walk in, you see these new bleachers. The lights in there are super bright. There's lights everywhere. White light really lights the place up and helps you see. The floor in there is it's actually really different. I don't know. I can't think of. I might be wrong about this, but I can't think of other schools that kind of have this design floor that we have. It's a very bright, it's a brighter wood. I really like it. It's something kind of special. So you walk in there, you have everything's brighter now. It's just bright. The white in there is bright. It's really nice. It really impacts your mood. It's not like sitting in a 1,000-degree gym. And the reason I say 1,000-degree again is because you have better circulating air in there now. I believe there is air conditioning in there, and I can tell you what, even if there's not, the air circulates very well in there. It is. I don't even know what the weather is outside right now. It's January 30th. The weather right now is 1 degree, and I'm filming this after the game, so it was probably a little bit warmer. It's not super hot. It might be different in the summer, but it was 1 degree. I had a hoodie on, and I had a heated vest on, and a pair of jeans. And I can tell you, I did not sweat once at that game. I didn't have to take my hoodie off. I didn't have to take my vest off. Nothing. So it was pretty controlled in there. It was a very nice feel in there. And there was a decent amount of people there. From what I understand, there was a very large crowd at the girls' basketball game. Pretty much the gymnasium was filled, which is awesome. That's so cool for those girls, and that's super cool for the community to get to come out and support their girls' basketball team while also getting to tour and see this new facility. Tonight there was a decent crowd. So plenty of opportunity for uh, temperatures to get higher with all those people there, and I can tell you I was very comfortable tonight. So you walk into this very nice place. Uh, when you walk into other schools, you walk into West Mifflin, you walk into, I'm trying to think of some, TJ, Peters Township, and I mentioned Peters Township. Peters has a larger gym than us, but ours is very similar look wise, with the red bleachers, with the floor, the logo. It has a bit of a similar touch, and I would assume that that's kind of where some ideas came from. So it's nice, and I mentioned Peters because I've been there for a couple games. My sister played volleyball, and I've been to their gym to watch those games. And y- when you sit at a gym that is brand new, not from it wasn't the original gym of the school. You just kind of sit there and you're like, EF could never. And unfortunately, that was the feeling I think a lot of our community had, and a lot of our community might still have. There's a lot of people during this election who kind of came out and were like, EF doesn't deserve us. EF shouldn't have us. We can't do this. We shouldn't do this. There were a lot of people who are in pretty big places, saying that. And it's like, EF does deserve us. We need this. When you go to another school and you experience that, you're like, oh my gosh, EF could never do that. That sucks. You shouldn't feel like that. Now you walk into a gym that's brand new and you're like, oh my gosh, we did it. This is EF. This is the new, I don't even know a word to use for it. The beautification of EF is right in front of you. And it finally puts us on the map for people to leave there and not say, man, that school's old. Or to not say, this place is, you don't want to play a game there. The floor's uneven or this is wrong. This puts you on the map where people are now saying, this place is nice. Look, you guys, did you see the new gym at EF? You know, after the ladies basketball game yesterday, the Facebook posts about it, the pictures. Sarah Pellis of the Mon Valley Independent, she wrote an article about it. She also, before the article came out, she put a series of photos up on Facebook on the All About Elizabeth page, and it had like a ton of comments of just people saying how beautiful it was. I can tell you firsthand. I went to the game tonight. I had I had so many people. I probably couldn't even count them all. How many people I had come up to me. I probably couldn't count on one hand. I couldn't count on two hands. That's how many people were there that came up to me and were like, "Chad, this place is great," because they know I went to this school. They know that I follow this stuff. They know that I advocate. We need this stuff, and people are just obsessed with this, and they love it. And it's alumni coming up to you. It is community members coming up to you. It is people who know this school and know this district and are just saying, it is time for this. It was time for this. We are so glad to have it. So as a community member, I'm very thankful to our school board. I'm very thankful to those who took the initiative on this. There's countless people. I did a podcast with director Sharkey. He was president at the time of the podcast, and he was a very big part in this project. He was a very big part in this project. So, I felt it was important to talk to him about it, and he gave me a very good understanding. And I've had a ton of people since that podcast come to me or message me and say, "Hey, I learned a lot from this. This was, great idea. Thanks for sitting down with him. We learned a lot about this that we didn't think." And it's hard when you're in a position where you're driving past the school in, let's say, May or August or September or even up to November, and it's just a lot of beams still exposed. It's hard to picture it. But when you get to walk in there and see it, you know, it's mind blowing just how nice something, this is one of the best projects I've seen come out of Elizabeth Forward in a very long time. And it's very needed. And it's, it's respectable. It puts you on the map. So, um, you know, I'll touch on this now. The technology, and I'm pulling up photos here just to remind myself of all the stuff that's there. So, like I said, you walk in, you see this brand new board, this LED board. It's a nice size board. It shows you throughout the game. It shows you how much time's left, the points, your standard stuff for a basketball game. And this board has the capabilities um, of being changed. So you during the game, you could play graphics on it. You could put they make the graphic prior to the game, and it is a hot cue or a I'm trying to think of the right name for it. It's uh, it's a button. I'll put it that way. It's a button that all they have to do is they press a button, and it cues that up onto the screen and it plays it on the screen. It was really cool. Like there was if there was a foul, it would pop up foul on the screen. If there was a 3 point, it would pop up 3 point on it. If there was, just anything, it would show up on the screen, and it's something cool. And, something I really like, because they have these speakers. So there's speakers all throughout the gym. And I talked to a couple people who said at the girls' basketball game, it was hard to hear and it was a little echoey. That's so the way that's going to get resolved tonight. Actually, there was a group of guys there that were tuning it, and that will help fix that. And then they bought all new banners to go throughout the gym, and that will also deafen it. And then, of course, if that doesn't work, you could always move to sound panels. But tonight, in all honesty, I thought that the sound was great. I thought when music played, it wasn't too loud. I thought when the announcer spoke, it was pretty clear. So I think that they have it pretty figured out. So there's one he played that just said "Get loud," and it would scream "Get loud" throughout the gym, and it would pop up on the screen. And there's also a screen in front of the table that they sit at. Normally, I think it just said Elizabeth Ford on it originally, the old one. Now this one has a screen that shows the same. It displays the same graphic that's showing up on the screen. It shows up there, and then when it's not showing a graphic, I think it just shows the Elizabeth Ford logo. I might be wrong on that. I didn't get to see it too much tonight, um, but it's really cool, and um, and that's something I think these graphics too. I wanted to touch on. I'm a big graphic design person. I think if you could touch up anything with graphics, you should do it. Same with sound. Music, everybody loves music. It's hard not to like music, and it's hard not to get pumped up when there's music. Uh, you know, go to a Steelers game, that screen goes black, you know what's happening. Renegade starts playing, your adrenaline's going, you're pumped up. You have that now where you have a student section who is coming to the game for the purpose of enjoying the night, cheering for their friends. You know, these kids, normally at a student section, they have to have a student leader that sits down at the bottom and stands up at a moment and says, "All right, we're going to do this chant, or we're going to cheer at this point." Now, you have a screen to your right and a surround sound system that's playing music during a timeout or before the game, or whenever. You have the capability to pull your crowd in now, and that's something so big. And that's something, I talked to a couple people tonight about it. That student section sitting right there, throw that up more. Get loud in the student section. Get some more graphics. Clap your hands, do this, do that. When you go to a Penguins game, you hear that organ, you see the clapping on the screen, it says "Get loud." The noise meter, I think a noise meter would be a great idea because people like to do that. You go to a Steelers game, they have the same stuff. Get loud, scream, let us hear you, do this, do that. You have all these things where now you can create a tradition. You could create a renegade for Elizabeth Forward. I don't know what it would be, but you could do something like that. Having this technology in something like this, like a gymnasium, you could have so much fun with it. And I love that stuff. I love technology. I love the graphic design of it. I don't know if any of you know this. I DJ, um, and I play music at hockey games. And I've done Thomas Jefferson hockey games. My cousin played for Thomas Jefferson, so they they knew I DJ'd, and they asked, "Hey, would you like to come play music for us?" And I was like, "Sure." I love it. Every time that ref blows that whistle and the puck is off the ice, I get to play a song, and you see the crowd react to it. You see everybody start getting into the game. are the greatest. The reason I wasn't able to go to the girls' game last night, I was at a hockey game playing. It went into a overtime shootout. So it went into an overtime first, and then it went into a shootout. All you have to do, you put Metallica on, those kids, the students feel it. They feel it in their bones, and that gets them going. You know, you play Seek and Destroy at a Penguins game. They play Seek and Destroy going into overtime. I played that last night. You could feel the energy. The crowd's cheering. You're cheering. It is so exciting. This gym has that capability. And they played Metallica tonight, and they played those rock songs, you know, the classic rock songs that and that's not rock, that's metal, but the classic songs that people know, and it gets them pumped up and it gets them going. If they keep this up, you know, that completely transforms the way that games are going to be played at EF. And again, I'm super excited for that. That's the stuff I love. I'd help them however I can, especially with music if they need suggestions, if they, you know, get those students in there. Let's find a tradition. What can we do for EF? What song can be EF's theme? You know, you you hear Renegade, you could be in California, you play Renegade, and there's going to be someone there that turns to you and says, you know, this is the Steelers. That's their song. It's just, what can we do now? You have these capabilities. Let's throw a graphic up. Let's find something we can do. What can we play that's going to get the crowd pumped up? That's going to get the boys pumped up? That's going to get the girls pumped up? What can we do? You know, it's going to be basketball in there. The wrestling's in there. There's so many things in there. There's color guard band. You have all these capabilities. Let's make something of it. And I think that I really do believe that they're going to. I think they're going to make this something great. So you know, you have these new screens. You have the brand new on the opposite side. There's only one LED scoreboard in there, and then there's the LED screen in front of the table. And then you have on the opposite side the normal your standard scoreboard for a gymnasium. And then let me see here. You have a shot clock, a shots with the clock now. So on the hoop, it shows you the time, and then it has a shot count. And I don't think that's been started yet, but that's coming soon. On the backboard of the hoops, there is a red outline light. So whenever the buzzer goes off at the end of a period, that light lights up and shows off, you know, the time ended. And I think they could do a lot with that too, which is really neat. So the technology is there. It is. It's really there. It's a lot of fun. I actually, I really enjoyed the game tonight. Just getting to see everything, getting to hear the music. Again, that pulls you in. This kind of technology will really get anybody going. Um, they had I believe, at the top of the what is supposed to be the home side, but actually was tonight the away side, but I believe it was planned to be the home side, but the home people sat on the opposite side. You have the 360 camera that's recording from one side. I don't. It's not 360, but it's your wide camera that records from one side of the court to the other for when they do their live streams. It's just, it's really fantastic. I'm really excited for it. I can tell you this: the students are excited for it. It was so cool just to see as students walked in tonight. Kind of, they did the same thing as I did. You could tell who was at the game last night and who wasn't. If you were at the game last night, you walked in, you're like, oh yeah, it's cool. If you were walking in there for the first time, it was really cool to sit there and just see everybody do the same thing. Their head immediately just went straight up. Their heads went up and their jaws dropped, and they were like, oh wow. And you'd see them talk to their friends about it. It is just, it's really cool. Yeah, you know, we need to support stuff like this. You know, we had some and I'm going to bring this up at the board meeting the other day. We had some band members come and discuss that they were having trouble finding a location to practice. They were getting overlooked. They weren't getting booked properly, and they couldn't practice. They practiced. They tried at Central Elementary. It wasn't large enough for indoor capabilities. So the indoor color guard, they throw their flags, they throw batons, they throw, you know, fake guns like prop guns. Um, so they do all these things where they're throwing things pretty high, and they can't. And they actually spoke about that. They said how, you know, we throw something and we're damaging our school. We don't want to damage our school. The one kid said it best. He said, we're damaging our school, and we don't want to damage our school. We love our school. So he said, just help us. Where can we go? What can we do? We can't do this outside. It's freezing out, you know? So, uh, this is another opportunity now where you have, say you have a color guard practice, and you might also have a basketball practice. Well, you now have two gyms. Color guard needs a high ceiling, basketball doesn't. You could put basketball in one gym, you could put the color guard in the other. So it's a really cool thing now for any student who gets to experience this. I'm really happy about the seniors this year getting to experience it. There was a senior that got interviewed on the first day of school. His name was Eddie, and this is one of like the coolest interviews to me because it was on the first day of school, and it would be a story that you would normally think would have a negative reaction. You would think students would say, "We shouldn't," they would say, "We shouldn't be in school. The building's not done. Why are we here?" And it had the complete opposite reaction. Students were saying how excited they were, and Eddie he had a really good quote. He said something along the lines of, I probably won't get to experience it, but I'm really excited for the students who do. And I think that's something you could say that about anybody who is an alumni. You could say that about anybody who's not, who may be a senior, who now gets to experience the gym, but's not going to experience the auditorium or experience the new learning facility. Um, as an alumni, I have had so many people reach out to me that I graduated with who know that I'm writing these articles, who know that I have the photos. They say to me, "Hey, could I see what the outside of the building looks like?" I'm at school in New York, I'm at school in Chicago, I'm at school in Florida, I'm at school in Alabama, wherever they're at, and they want to see it, and they see it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this is great!" I'm so excited for the people who get to experience that, and it's just something. It's so touching, and it shows you need a community like Elizabeth Forward to do something like this. And you always will have the opposition to it. That's normal. It's normal for any construction project. There's always going to be opposition, and it's expensive, and there's a lot of money. So people, of course, have trust issues, which is very understandable. And so it's okay. It is. It's okay to have people who oppose it. I personally will admit, when I first heard we're building a gym, I'm like, why do we need a gym? We have a gym. After seeing it tonight, I want to hit myself for ever saying that because it's beautiful. And you are giving something back to your students. These are students who dedicate their lives to this. Programs in schools and clubs in schools and activities in schools, that saves a lot of students. And I don't think a lot of people know that, but there are students whose lives are saved by these programs. I've talked about my musical story. Musical helped me. I probably would not be the outgoing person I am today without ever joining that. And I think a lot of basketball players who are getting to experience this now, they could probably say the same thing. If they didn't have that basketball court, where would they be? If the students didn't have an auditorium to practice in, where would they be? Would they be in musical? Would they have the friends that they have? Would they be with a good group of students? So that's something that I really think also kind of gets pushed away when talking about this construction project, that you are helping the students. That's what this is about. This isn't about anything else. This is about what are we doing for our students. And I can tell you tonight, we have given something so special to our students that it is unbelievable. And I'm beyond excited. I'm beyond happy. Um, I again, I want to thank anybody involved with that project. We're moving into phase two, where we're finally going to get our auditorium. I work with the musical still. I graduated in 24, became a staff member the following year. This is my second year on the staff. Um, we're having a great time at the middle school, but it's going to feel so good to return home to the high school, and to have our space and to have a brand new auditorium. And I think that's something that a lot of people aren't thinking about when they're thinking about this project is the students. This is for the students, and it's mind blowing. It really is. I it's hard for me to explain my emotions about this gym without just rambling, because I could tell you it's beautiful a million times. And I could tell you, all these people came up to me tonight, one after the other. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the gym. Can you believe this? Can you believe this? I had one person say to me, in Elizabeth Forward, can you believe this is in Elizabeth Forward? Anybody in the past would probably say, no, I can't. But we are setting a new photo for Elizabeth. We are putting Elizabeth Forward on the map. And this is hopefully the start of something big. And this is hopefully the start of putting Elizabeth Forward where it needs to be. Um, as somebody who graduated there, I talked to somebody actually the other day. He graduated a year before me. He and I talked about this. He said, what are your thoughts on the gym? And I said to him, I am so excited. You know it. I know it. Anybody who graduated know it. Anybody who goes to school there knows it. That gym that we have is outdated. That building is outdated. The facilities are outdated. This is needed. It is time. I'm excited for it. I can't wait until phase one is complete fully. I can't wait until phase two is complete. And I can tell you, I was senior president my senior year. I was class president, and the first thing I'm going to do is I want a some sort of, you don't have to call it a reunion, but I want to get together of everybody in the class of 2024. I want us there, and I'm going to set that up somehow. I want to make sure that my classmates get the time to experience that. Um, we have a fantastic superintendent. He has just been amazing during this whole thing, and he is the superintendent that got it done. He walked into the job and got smacked with a fire. And honestly, I give him so much credit because he has stuck by our side and he's done a fantastic job as our superintendent. He's been pretty open. He's talked at these school board meetings and has explained what's going on in these phases. He's talked to me a bunch of times. He's a very nice guy, very approachable. If you ever have questions, ask him. He will give you an answer. He's very busy, so sometimes it's hard. I would imagine to answer everything when you have a schedule of a superintendent. It's a very busy thing, but he's great, and I give him so much credit for helping us and getting us there. And I just am really excited. So I think that he would. I think he would definitely entertain allowing the class of 2024 to come back and see the new school. And I know a lot of my classmates are excited. I know a lot of alumni, period, are excited. I talked to there were a lot of members of the Elizabeth Ford Alumni Association there tonight. They told me they were very excited about it and they can't wait to see it through. And I just think this is this is just something so special. And again, I'm really excited for it. Um, and I can't wait to see this school develop. I can't wait to see this district develop. I know they're going to bring some changes to the middle school, some changes to central, some upgrades there. And this is really good time, a really good time. It's just very special. And again, as an alumni, I see that. I know a lot of my classmates see that. I know a lot of seniors who are not going to get to experience certain things see that. And just very thankful to live in a community that is as strong as Elizabeth Forward. Like I was saying earlier, you can't do this without a supportive community. You can't do this without a community that knows it's time for this. And I think Elizabeth Ford, we had our doubts, but I think now that people get to experience it, those doubts are gone. And I made uh, a thing up earlier that there was this wave of 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 I don't even know the word, but there was this wave of kind of distaste for this project. And I can tell you tonight, after sitting there, seeing the smiles on people's faces, seeing people talk and just be so excited about this, I think that wave has crashed into the ground so hard. And I don't see it coming back because what's going to happen next is we're going to open up that auditorium, which is going to be absolutely beautiful. And we are going to be a new school with it is going to just be, it's going to be so exciting. As I said, I work with the high school musical. I'm so excited for the auditorium. It's going to be great. We are going to have a space. We're going to have a lot of storage. We're going to have advanced technology. If you think the technology in that gym is advanced, wait till you see what we're going to get hit with in this auditorium. I help with light design at the high school, or at the yeah at, in the high school musical, but we're at the middle school. I help with the light designs at the middle school. That is such a fun thing to do. The students who also participate in that, our student light director, she's great. Um, it is just so fun to take on something like that. And now we're going to have all this new technology. We're going to have this new space. It's going to be so exciting. Again, just very thankful. And I just kind of wanted to come on here and give my emotions about it, give my feelings about it, because, like I said, this is something big. This is a big time for Elizabeth. We have a great community. We do, and you really can't say anything bad about Elizabeth. It's a quiet area, but it is a very special area, and I think that is shown because there's a lot of people who went to school here from elementary to high school, and they still live here. And I think that's very saying about a neighborhood, and I think that's very saying about a township. I think that's very saying about a school district too. There's a lot of people that I think are going to want to move into Elizabeth Forward, and I think there's a lot of people who are now going to want to stay in Elizabeth Forward. Because I could tell you, I graduated from this school, and there's been plenty of people who said, I am not staying here. I am gone. I do not want my kids anywhere near that school. Yeah, this place is horrible. Once they see these new renovations, and I don't know what's to come. We could stop at this. We could stop at a gym and an auditorium and an extension wing. But I could see us in the future moving on and breaking down parts of that school and just upgrading it and making it into something so special. And if that happens, I could see a big boom in this area. And we got to get that. We've had a lot of talks about LERTA. We got to get business here. We got to get residents here. Uh, let's do it. Let's make this place something special. We talked about the RCAP money at the commissioners meeting. Let's get let's get this stuff done. Let's get this place great. Let's make it look great. Let's make it a campus. Let's do it. I'm all for it. I'm excited. I think that, as I said, I think that wave of distaste has crashed. If it was a fire, it burned down. That's for sure. That feeling is gone because people tonight were excited. They were energetic. Uh, the fans were great tonight. So I think that, as they said in that same news interview that I was talking about, Eddie, as they said in that, I think Elizabeth Forward is ready to move forward, and I think I can leave it on that. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for reading my articles. Thanks for staying involved with me. Thanks for all the support. I can't express to you guys how much it means to have people reach out to me constantly, or even when I'm in public. I'm still kind of getting used to, just walking into like a Giant Eagle or Dollar General and somebody coming over to me and saying, "Hey, great job, keep up the great work." That is so special to me. I really love it. If you see me in public, please come over to me, talk to me. I love to talk, as you probably could tell by a 40-minute podcast that could have been 2 minutes. Um, I'll stand there and talk to you all day. I love this. I love keeping our community informed. I love Elizabeth. I love Elizabeth Ford. I love this district. I love everything about it. So I'm happy to be involved, and I'm happy to do this and give the community something to rely on and look at, and give the community something to also be involved. So, I can't do that without you guys. I love you guys. Anybody who supports me, I love you. You're great. Thanks for the support. It means the world to me. So again, thank you. And as I said, I think it's time for Elizabeth Ford to move forward, and I think we're seeing that now. So thank you guys for tuning in today.